Welcome back, everybody. Now, the Kauru Contemporary African Art is currently presenting And Counting, which is a contemporary visual art exhibition at the Johannesburg Art Gallery. Through the And Counting, Kauru Contemporary Art reflects on South Africa's 25 years of democracy and features the work of a number of artists who each have their unique stories to tell. And Counting digs through the archives to confront the issues of collective history, while also looking at the works that exist outside institutional archives and collections. And to tell us more about And Counting, we are joined in studio by curators Tšhegofatso, Mabaso and Julia Taonga, Kaseka. Ladies, a very good morning to you and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you.
I'm going to start with you, Julia. Take us through some of the artists at the exhibition and the kind of contribution that each artist will have to this exhibition.
Okay, so we have people like N.S. Cole, who have contributed a lot of photography from the archives of the Johannesburg Art Gallery. And then we have artists like Gladys Kalicini, who is studying a PhD at Rhodes University, and she's exploring sort of powerful women during the oppression struggle in Zambia from the 50s and 60s. And we have Lawrence, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. Sorry.
Now, Tseho, I mean, South Africa is celebrating 25 years of democracy, and I would imagine that you are trying to tell a story of South Africa's liberation through this exhibition. And take us through what each and every piece will do to sort of depict this.
So we were thinking about the democracy, but also particularly in relationship to South Africa's relationship with Zambia during the armed struggle against apartheid. So we were quite interested in how we could have a conversation about contemporary realities in both South Africa and Zambia today to reflect on the history that both our countries have. Zambia was a really important ally to South Africa during the struggle against apartheid, housing many of the ANC fighters. So we were interested to see how there are contemporary issues that we could engage with that and have a conversation with today about that history. So the different works speak to the role of women in the struggle against both apartheid and colonialism in both Zambia and South Africa. Issues of mining also present in the exhibition. We're thinking about storytelling as a way to think about how we can bring our histories to the forefront, particularly in relation to how archives aren't always complete. There are a lot of gaps and things that are not represented and people's stories who are not represented in these archives. So how can we begin to talk about them in ways that can include them into institutional archives and therefore our collective memory?
So will these pieces channel whosoever will be viewing them to a certain direction or to a certain line of thought, or do you allow them to be open-minded to have whatever thought processes or patterns?
We're definitely trying to be very open-minded and allow audiences the space to come to the exhibition with their own experiences, narratives and stories. I think each of the pieces will really resonate with people and their kind of everyday realities and issues they face on a daily basis, issues that concern us. Yeah.
Okay. So, Julia, what would you like the audience to take away after viewing this exhibition?
Yes, I think I would like them to perhaps learn something new about a historical moment, that everybody has kind of their own collective memory.
Yeah.
So how can we share that? We're sharing that with the public in terms of contemporary art, but also as people, we want people to come into the space to kind of absorb these new stories, these narratives that we never have time or we never get to hear, or they're not included within our history.
And I presume that this project is focused on dialogue around social cohesion and access within the creative sectors. Why do you think this is such an important factor?
Well, because creative sector suffers from so much exploitation and misunderstanding. Creatives, we function quite sensitive, as well as we sort of shape the future, because we keep. At that moment, we are keeping or preserving that current history, which comes then the future history. Yeah. So it's important for there to be more investment and more support for the creative industry, because we give that direction towards knowing where we came from and where we're going.
Sure.
Yes.
I mean, she raised a very important point, that of the exploitation of the arts. How do you deal with such?
It's a tricky thing. I think it's a combination of various institutions coming together. I think there definitely needs to be more support in the arts. It's quite challenging in terms of funding. I mean, both globally and locally, funding budgets are really shrinking. So we're trying to find new ways to still produce the work that we're producing and to have these really pertinent conversations, which are really important, because I think for a long time the artistic production of the continent was largely neglected and there was more like a Western focus. So I think it's important for us to share our stories and to tell them ourselves as opposed to allow other people to tell them for us.
Yeah. So how long would the exhibition be running for, and to take us through the details?
So the exhibition will be on for about 2 months. So it is on now until the 14th of July. We have a walkabout this afternoon at 1 p.m. where Julia and I will be taking people through the exhibition and kind of talking about the stories behind the exhibition. And then on June 16, there'll also be a youth workshop at the Johannesburg Art Gallery. So we'd really love for people to come and see the exhibition.
I mean, how does the wider pool of artists join such noble initiatives?
I mean, it's definitely possible to reach out to organizations like Kauru. They're really focused on trying to make black artists in South Africa and on the continent's works visible. So that's an organization that artists can really reach out to in terms of collaborating with them and for future opportunities. It's the 8th year that Kauru has hosted this Africa Day exhibition, so it's a really amazing platform for young artists to show their work.
All right. All the best, ladies. Thank you so much for coming through. Hey.
Thank you.
That was Tšhegofatso, Mabaso and Julia Taonga Kaseka talking to us about end counting, which is opened at the Johannesburg Art Gallery right here in Johannesburg. And as you heard, there will be a walkabout this afternoon at, is it 1 p.m., right? Yeah, at 1 p.m. this afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Morning Live.